Hello everybody, this is Rodrigo from Learning English Fast, and today we have an exclusive vocabulary class. It is exclusive because we will learn some medical English terms that are usually one of the topics for the Cambridge and Toefl exams. I expect most of you know this by now, but I always teach relevant grammar and vocabularies for both reading and listening sections of the test. So, besides crucial topics such as environmental terms, technology, crimes, and general businesses, this time I show you specific words for health, nursing, and medicine, and obviously how to apply those words in a sentence. But before starting this class, if you haven't subscribed yet, click on the link below. Leave your like and make sure you get all my tips for both grammar and vocabulary during your Toefl, Cambridge, or Ielts preparation. So, shall we start? So, my students always ask me what kind of technique they use to memorize new words, and I always tell them that I use mnemonics, which is basically an association technique. Well, its formal meaning I just put there for you. Mnemonics make use of elaborative encode and imageries as specific tools to encode any given information in a way that allows for efficient storage and retrieval. Mnemonics aid original information becoming associated with something more accessible or meaningful, which in turn provides better retention of the information. So now in my own words, you can basically associate new words with colors, scents, numbers, faces, true facts, songs, or anything else that might help you remember those words. But if you have a better technique, leave your comments below and help us all to follow suit. Alright? So, obviously, I'm not a doctor or a nurse, but I'm just trying to help you with some of the most crucial words required for Toefl, Cambridge, and Ielts. So the dynamics is going to work like that. I'm going to show you the words, and right after, I'm going to show you some pictures to help you fix those terms in your mind, okay? So, shall we start? The first one, acute, which basically means quick to become severe or bad. For example, like many acute illnesses can be treated successfully. Right? Second example, like there have been many reports over the years of acute ill health in rural areas. Alright? The second term, anemia, it basically means what occurs when the body doesn't have enough red blood cells. So it's a very common disease. For example, the doctors expect to receive many new patients with anemia in this village. Right? Or second example, iron deficiency anemia occurs in more than 50% of women with excessive bleeding. An appointment, the most common word in medical terms, which is basically a scheduled or a scheduled meeting with a medical professional. British people say schedule, and Americans schedule, alright? For example, a doctor's appointment is being put off again, put back, postponed. Another example I could give you, my daughter is scared of what might happen during a dentist appointment because she's only a 5-year-old child. So let me show you some pictures. You see, first we have management of acute pain. So you can see the pain, the guy's back. Then we have anemia, the normal way, and with anemia, not enough red blood cells. And the last picture, it's a doctor's appointment. Alright? Let's continue. So, let's see now the term bed sore. Bed sore are basically wounds developed on a patient's body from lying in one place for too long. I'm going to show you a picture in a minute, okay? But basically, I can give you an example, like the nurse noticed the presence of a bed sore during the patient's bath. Okay? Next term, brace. That's basically a device that holds injured body parts in place. So as an example, how to use in a sentence, I can tell you like, I wear a brace to protect my back. I'm going to show you a picture. Breech. That's a position of an unborn baby in which the feet are down and the head is up, so the baby is upside down, you know. For example, a breech birth is always complicated, you know, we need cesarean, okay? And bypass operation, a medical operation in which the flow of a person's blood is changed to avoid the disease part of their heart, okay? In a sentence like, in 2019, Sam had to go to Canada for a double bypass operation, right? So let's see some pictures. You see, so bed sore, those are wounds, and then breech, the brace that I told you before, and the bypass, okay? So the baby, upside down. So the next term, CPR, that stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation, okay? It basically means restoring a person's breath and circulation, alright? How can I use that in a sentence? For example, Marcus should have received immediate attendance with CPR, but that never happened. I'm going to show you a picture in a minute, okay? Next word, cast or plaster cast. You know, a hard bandage that's wrapped around a broken bone to keep it in place. It's very easy to spot in the picture, but anyway, I can give you an example. Like, I was immobilized for 10 days with a palm plaster cast. Alright? Chickenpox. Basically, that's a virus commonly contracted by children, characterized by itchy spots all over the body. So I'm also going to show you a picture, but I can tell you in a sentence like chickenpox is very severe in babies in 30% of the cases, roughly, alright? And crutches, you know, those objects that people with injured legs or feet use to help them walk. So I'm going to show you the pictures, but in a sentence I can say, I broke my leg and now I need to use crutches for a while. So let's see the pictures. You see? So we've got CPR over there, and we had chickenpox over there, a plaster cast or just cast, and the crutches. So the pictures do help, don't they? Amazing. So the next term, cardiac arrest, which basically means a sudden loss of blood flow resulting from a failure of the heart to pump effectively. The picture is going to be very easy to know, but in a sentence, I can tell you, like, many celebrities die every year of cardiac arrest. Maybe because of drugs or whatever, you know. Next term, dementia. That's basically the loss of mental capacity. So we say dementia, okay? For example, in many countries, kids with dementia have to study in special schools, okay? And growth, there are many definitions for growth, but as a medical term, it's a ball of tissue that grows bigger than normal, either on or under the skin. In the picture, it's going to be very easy to spot that. But I can give an example like, the vet removed the growth on my dog's leg. So let's see the pictures. You see cardiac arrest, dementia, and growth. So here you can see the growth, right? Very easily spot the difference. So next term, hives. Basically, they're bumps that appear on the surface of the skin during allergic reaction, okay? In a sentence, you can say like, these medicines used to treat hives and skin itching. Easy. Next term, hippocampus. That's basically a part of the brain that's part of the limbic system. It's crucial for memory, alright? But in a sentence, you can say like, the hippocampus stores all our memories and decodes the flavor we're tasting, okay? And the ICU, that basically stands for Intensive Care Unit. You know, if you've been to a hospital, you know what that is. It's a section of the hospital where patients get constant attention and doctors rely on specialized equipment. So let's see the pictures. You see those hives, the arm, hippocampus, and the ICU. Okay, a lot of equipment over there. Great. So the next term, itchy, basically means feeling discomfort on the skin surface. Okay, it's itchy. In a sentence like, this medicine may cause itchy skin rashes. You know, like gets all red. I'm going to show you the picture. IV. It's basically a tube that pumps liquids and medication into a patient's body. The application of sentence like, nurses very soon learn how to start an IV. Lightheaded. It's just the feeling of dizziness, you know, feeling off balanced, usually caused by a lack of oxygen in the brain. So haven't got enough oxygen in the brain. And if you feel lightheaded, sit down until your head clears. That's the best example I can give you. And malignant, basically expected to grow and get much worse, especially related to cancer cells. So, the differential diagnosis of initial malignant melanoma is made easier with delta 20. Okay, it's just an example. Let's see the pictures now. So, itchy, IV, lightheaded, feeling dizzy, and malignant, you know, like the cancer case. Okay, great. So the next word is the OR, the operation room. So that's the place where major surgeries and operations take place. All right. As an example, I can tell you, like, there are 2 dead bodies in the OR. It's really sorrowful, isn't it? I'm going to show you a picture, of course. Next one is very technical. Occipital lobe. That's basically one of the 4 major lobes of the cerebral cortex in the brain of mammals. The occipital lobe is the visual processing center of the mammalian brain, containing most of the anatomical region of the visual cortex. So again, very technical, and I can give an example, like Marisa's car accident caused her damage in her occipital lobe, and she's been having problems recognizing people, so she doesn't recognize even myself. Alright? She's a friend of mine. Next term, physician. It's basically another word for doctor. Okay? Physician, doctor, it's the same thing. So, tomorrow I have a physician's appointment, a doctor's appointment, or the physician noted an improvement in Emilia's condition. Okay? I'm using all my friends' names now, okay? Or the physician has a secure job at this hospital. Okay? Cool. Let's see the pictures. So OR, operations room. Then the occipital lobe. You see there are 4 main lobes there. The occipital lobe is one of them, the pink one. And physician, a doctor. Great. Let's move. So now the next word, scrubs. Basically, that's a plain uniform. You know, it could be green, white, blue, depends on the hospital. And they are worn by medical professionals, alright? In a sentence, for example, all my scrubs are dirty and I need to get them cleaned up. Or Victor needs to buy some new scrubs, you know, to work at this new hospital, alright? Because this hospital doesn't give him any. Great. Next example, scrub up. Basically, when you carefully wash hands before and after seeing a patient. Basically, before surgeries and delicate procedures. For example, before performing a medical operation, doctors need to scrub up, right? Seizure. It's a terrible thing. That's a sudden violent movement or unconsciousness caused by electrical signal malfunction in the brain. So a person has no control over that. For example, my father died of seizure because he hit his head against the curb. That's just an example. It's not my father. And side effects, basically an unpleasant effect of a drug that happens in addition to the main effect. So one of the side effects of antidepressants is, for example, loss of appetite, or maybe some sexual problems, alright? Let's see some pictures. You see these scrubs? In this case, I've picked some blue ones. They could have been green or white, right? Scrubs up, you see? Doctor washing his hands before a procedure. Seizure, it's a violent movement, so the person is shaking on the floor. And then side effects, like nausea, bleeding, headache, muscle pain, etc., etc. Great, let's move. So the next word is sprain, and basically that means twist, like an injury to a joint. When, for example, your ankle, your wrist, your knee, it's much less serious than a break, So as an example, I can tell you, like, I sprained my ankle playing soccer last night. So it's very easy to use in a sentence. Next term, swollen. That's an injury to a joint. For example, I can tell you that every time I fly, my feet get swollen. Or when you get, like, an insect bite, you also get swollen. You're going to see the picture. Temperature. So temperature is a kind of fever, but less dangerous, okay? So usually, in order to call it a fever, it has to be like 38.5 or 39 Celsius. And if you have a temperature, it's like 38. So it's not very high. But if you are running a high temperature, you can take you to hospital and just check if that's a real fever, okay? And tender basically means painful when touched or used. So when you touch any parts of your body and you feel tender, it means it's painful, it aches, alright? So as an example, my face was tender after I had an orthodontic surgery. When you have to move your jaw forward or backward, so that's very painful. Let's see the pictures. So, you see the sprain in the ankle, and then the temperature, just before becoming a fever. If you have a high fever, you usually have to stay in bed. But if you haven't got high fever, you can still work. Swollen, like happened to the feet over there. So, and tender, when you touch and you feel it's very sensitive, you feel some kind of pain, alright? So, let's move. So, unconscious, you are still alive but appearing to be asleep and unaware of your surroundings. So basically, let's just imagine this scene. I was driving and I hit my head against the steering wheel, and when the ambulance arrived, I was still unconscious. That could have been horrible, but I'm still alive. I'm safe. Alright? Then the next word is a vector. So vector in medicine is basically a carrier or a disease of medication. Okay? So for instance, certain animals such as pigs, they can be vectors for some kinds of viruses. So you have to just be careful in certain rural areas, So you do not want to contract a disease. And ward, it's basically a section of hospital or health facility where patients stay. And usually, most hospitals, they divide their floors into different sections. For example, the first floor, that is mental health ward, but in the second floor, maybe the cancer patients ward, the oncology ward, alright? So let's see some pictures. You see unconscious, they're on the floor, but still alive, of course. Vector, in those pictures we can see like some insects. It could have been pigs, it could have been some other vectors. And then you have the ward. You see the beds there? So usually the same type of patients, they stay in the same ward room. Okay? That's what at least happens in my country. Okay guys? Wow, thank you so much for being with me all this time. I always have to thanks for the free websites I have access to, such as the Cambridge websites, Oxford websites, Lingui, and Harvard websites, because for me, those are the best free websites that I can access, and I highly recommend you to do so. So, again, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please leave your like, click on the link below, and tell all of your friends to be with us next time, okay? So, thanks a lot. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye-bye.